Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're conducting a live mock draft via draft.com. So without further ado, let's get right into it, shall we? Yep, let's do it. Andrew's got to click some buttons really quickly, and we'll do it. Hey, everybody, how's it going? So, again, we're here at live. We're doing a live draft today. Half-point PPR, 4-point per passing touchdown. Draft starts in 0 seconds, yet it hasn't loaded for me. Hello? That's a glitch. Maybe I click that refresh button for me and it'll go ahead and it'll work. Anyway, we're sitting here at the number 4 spot again. I swear I had this last time. Perhaps the last time I conducted a draft, I think I was at the 3rd spot, 2nd spot. I don't know. But again, we get the top 4, even though I didn't really want this spot because I kind of wanted to see what kind of team construction I could have gotten via the back end of the draft. But either way. All right, so we're getting into it hot. Somehow Saquon didn't go number 1. That's interesting. Either way, you know what? There it is. I get stuck with one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse here. Ezekiel Elliott will be my RB1. No problem. I will take that with relative ease. Interesting way that this first round has kind of transpired here. Either way. So if you haven't already, while we're waiting until my next pick, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button, hey? We're very close to 5,000 subscribers. Kind of been going after that for quite some time now. The channel's just about a year old. I haven't been doing this for very long. We're almost there at 5K. But you know what? I was thinking to myself, if we can get to that 5K spot, I'd be willing to put something down for like a 10K, right? If we were able, because I understand getting the 5K is difficult enough, but as we progress, we get to the 2019 season, I get more exposure on YouTube with my video. I'm doing 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week content during the regular season. If we could perhaps get to 10K, I'd be willing to shave my beard on stream without a doubt. I'd live stream it. The chat would be blowing up. Doesn't matter. I'd shave it. I mean, I've had this thing for at least 4.5, maybe 5 years. Obviously, I've trimmed it here and there. But this isn't a beard shaving stream anyway. Let's see what's gone down, right? This is obviously 30 seconds per pick. I don't expect to see any of these wonderful running backs coming back to me. To be honest, what I'm going to probably look to do when it comes back is lock down a good wide receiver, or potentially a tight end, most likely a wide receiver here. Hopefully a guy like, actually, you know what, they're probably going to go quickly. But either way, running back-wise, in the 3rd round, I'm going to probably try to look for like a guy like Damian Williams, perhaps Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook. Those are the kind of picks that I'm looking for in the 3rd round to kind of solidify my 2 RBs. Again, this is best ball, so there's no lineups. It's just purely just drafting, and whoever's team scores the most points by the end of the 16-game season, you are the champion. So a lot of this has to do with kind of taking players that have a lot of high upside on a weekly basis. Therefore, I probably won't go for too many stacked wide receivers. Instead, I'll wait for wide receiver, and I'll get guys that have high upside, guys like Curtis Samuel, who can have, our wide receiver 1 potential weeks. Guys like, who's another really deep sleeper? There's guys on the Dolphins that are completely just overlooked. I know Kenny Stills is dealing with an injury right now, but there's guys like, goodness gracious, am I really going to forget his name right now? We're going to go look at it. Why we have players in front of us, and Andrew's kind of messing around here. Where's that Dolphins wide receiver? Not Devontae Parker, never. Albert Wilson, another guy that I think last season he led the NFL in yards after the catch, like 13 yards after the catch, and that's the 2nd season in a row I think that he's kept that top spot there. So there's guys like that that are really deep here in best ball leagues that can potentially have wide receiver 1 performances. All you need is a couple on a season basis. Otherwise, you just kind of stack a bunch of consistent players and then see how it turns out. Man, I really hate having to wait. Even though it's 30 seconds per pick, when I get my pick, the clock absolutely instantly disappears. And then when these guys are picking, it takes absolutely forever for it to come back to me. Looking at what's available. Okay, we got to get this quarterback out of my way. What are we doing here? No. Okay. Woo. Oh, gosh. I mean, if these running backs come back to me, I'd be absolutely satisfied. I mean, if we can get James Conner to come back, perhaps even Todd Gurley. Again, I'm a guy that's going to go hard on Todd Gurley and drafting him. No, there's no way that Connor makes it back to me. So by the looks of it, yeah, as I mentioned, looking at the available wide receivers in a half PPR, Mike Evans not a bad choice here, and then I can go ahead and tag it along with a guy like Damian Williams perhaps in the third round. That wouldn't be half bad, actually. Unless I go 3 hard RBs and then just wait for wide receivers. I mean, looking at the depth here, there's some guys here that I honestly, Will Fuller, Christian Kirk, Dante Pettis, guys that are just extremely undervalued. But okay, anyway, let's see what we got here. Available running backs, Nick Chubb. Looking at the wide receivers, do I really want an Adam Thielen? Because Stephon Diggs is the budget version. Obviously, Stephon Diggs will miss some weeks. But looking at the running backs available, Damian Williams, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones. I can wait on Aaron Jones. So what we'll do is we'll lock down our... You know what? I'm really high on Damian Williams. I know Nick Chubb could have a really good season. He will have a really good season. 1,000 yards plus is probably a guarantee, but I think having a running back that's associated with the Kansas City Chiefs offense is just too valuable to give up, in my opinion. I understand you maybe think, Frank Gore. I mean, not Frank Gore. Goodness gracious. I always do this with names. I'm not even kidding. This is what happens when there's too much shit going in your brain. Carlos Hyde, a.k.a. I'm fucking almost Frank Gore. That's pretty much him. He's not going to do anything. Carlos Hyde's just going to kind of sit there and do absolute... I don't know. I don't see Carlos Hyde being used very often. There's a reason why the Cleveland Browns got rid of him to use Nick Chubb. And there's a reason why as soon as he got to the Jacksonville Jaguars, he was even beaten out by TJ Yeldon on a weekly basis. Looking at what's coming back to me in this draft here, I probably want to go ahead and lock down a receiver here. What are the tight ends looking like? Zach Ertz still on the board. I don't know. I'm not really too much of a tight end guy. Looking at the available running backs, honestly, I'd like to go like Aaron Jones here or Marlon Mack. You know what? I'm crazy. Let's just do it. Let's just give me this. Yeah, let's just do it. Today I'm feeling it. I don't know what it is. I just want to lock down 3 running backs and just ride high with it. So we're going to go heavy on the running backs, and it will eventually kind of even out with the rest of the positions. I don't really have to worry about quarterback at the moment. I'll probably go ahead and lock down 3 quarterbacks by the end of this draft, most likely. The breakdown of my roster, what I'll try to do is probably go with like a 3-6-6-2, and then if there's a late round flyer that I want to pick up, whether it's at the wide receiver position or the running back position, depending on what's available, obviously I'll adjust there. But as of right now, I don't know, Aaron Jones, man. I'm pretty high on him as of right now. Just looking at like his stat breakdown that I was doing a couple days back, even in his rookie season, last season, there are stints in games in which he's absolutely fantastic. I think last season, 2018 half-point PPR, Aaron Jones from weeks 8 to 14, right? Week 15, I think he had that injury that pretty much sent him to the IR. But from weeks 8 to 14, I think he had the 5th most running back points in fantasy half-point PPR. I mean, he was on a stint in which he was just completely tearing apart the league. A lot of it had to do with the fact that Mike McCarthy, boom, you're gone. This offense needs to change. It needs to balance out a little bit more. They gave him more responsibility. Therefore, he was able to act upon it. Even when Aaron Jones wasn't in the lineup, because the last couple seasons he's missed time due to injury, suspension in the beginning of the season. Jamal Williams, he pretty much carried out the back end of the season. I think 2 of the last 3 weeks he had 15-plus performances twice. So the running backs out of the Packers' backfield, yeah, they haven't been given much value as of late. I don't think we've seen a good Packers running back fantasy-wise since like Eddie Lacy in like 2013, 2014. I mean, which he was pretty good. But I think now that they've gotten Matt LaFleur in this offense, I think coming over from the Tennessee Titans, he was the offense coordinator there. I think he'll bring in that kind of more balanced offense. Obviously, you got to let Aaron Rodgers do what he wants to do, but eventually you got to balance this offense out because there's not too many weapons, receiving-wise. outside of Devontae Adams, really just we have a bunch of young talent and or injury-prone guys that really just haven't really stepped up as of late. Hopefully they will this season, but as of right now, I think Aaron Jones, I'm pretty high on him, to say the least. Let's see here. All right, obviously we're going to have to lock down some wide receivers here. So looking at the available wide receivers that are coming towards me, I really like Julian Edelman, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods. You know what, to be honest, I'll take any of these guys. The only one that I'm kind of low, I don't know, man. Tyreek Hill's pretty much a random, like, oh, perhaps we'll figure it out. But Tyreek Hill's kind of a sketch pickup. Brandon Cooks off the board. If I can lock down like a Kenny Golladay right now, I would not mind. That would actually do me pretty well, I think. Because then I can follow it up with like a Cooper Kupp in the next round, and I'd be pretty happy with that combination. Unless I go for like a Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett's not a bad person for wanting to have like exceptional weeks. When it comes to him and having like wide receiver one performances, he's really capable of doing that with his speed. But now that he's being moved into the slot position because of the fact that Doug Baldwin's gone, I don't think he'll have as much opportunity to. Okay, looking at what's available. What is wrong with Kenny Golladay? Why does he have a little thing here? Questionable chest, been working rehab, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he can't. Yeah, I'm not really afraid of that. I think Kenny Golladay is the best play right here. I personally believe so. That's where I'm going to go. I like Lockett, but let me see. Let me think about this. Yeah, you know what? No, I like Kenny Golladay. I think as the number one wide receiver, I know Marvin Jones is coming back from his ACL injury, so he'll obviously need to progress into the offense. They have other guys like Danny Amendola, but Kenny Golladay is the clear number one there in my eyes, so I'll go ahead and lock him down. I mean, as my fourth pick, not terrible to lock down a guy like that who's probably not going to be a wide receiver one, but for sure in that wide receiver two conversation all season long, and we'll have the upside. I mean, last season, what did he do? Over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, and really for, I think, the first 6 games this season, they had Golden Tate there who was really working in within the offense, kind of limited his offensive snap count, so I'll take it. Again, like I mentioned, coming back around, I would like to lock down a guy like Cooper Kupp. I think overall that's probably where I'm going to go here. I don't want to take Mike Williams. I know I like Mike Williams, don't get me wrong, especially because of his high touchdown upside. I like that. But specifically looking at like Tyreek Hill, great touchdown upside. Mike Williams, great touchdown upside. But I don't know what Tyreek Hill's doing. Mike Williams, I don't know, man. I really like Cooper Kupp. I'm biased. So there you go. Cooper Kupp's mine. I'm taking him. I mean, think about it. And I think he played 8 games last season, had 6 touchdowns. Just as viable in that kind of thing. And to be honest, all of the wide receivers of the Rams offense, they're going to have 1,000 receiving yards apiece. I think that's a given. The touchdown counts, I guess that's the only thing that is tough to kind of project. But looking at how efficient they were last season, I don't think that the Rams are going to end up being as bad as they were in the playoffs. I understand a lot of you may be thinking differently, but personally, I think Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, they'll all have fantastic seasons. Whether or not Gurley's healthy or fully healthy, I'm sure the All-American Darrell Henderson can figure it out in the backfield. I mean, C.J. Anderson, for the love of God, was able to figure it out. So let's see here. What else is working? When it comes to quarterbacks specifically in this draft, I'm not really looking for a quarterback anytime soon. I think there's so much depth here. Guys like Matt Ryan are just so undervalued. Russell Wilson, especially because this is 4-point per passing touchdown. Guys that have the ability to run the ball, like the Deshaun Watsons of the world, and or Cam Newton, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Those guys, Mitchell Trubisky, they just have way more value. Unless obviously you're competing with like a Andrew Luck or Patrick Mahomes, that if they throw 40 touchdowns, sure, they're going to have their value in spades. So. Otherwise, I'm not really too worried about it. You just want to kind of lock down 2 or 3 guys that are dependable enough to at least get one of them to have a QB 1 week on a weekly basis. Let's see. What is available? All right. Of the available players, I mean, looking at the construction of my team, 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers. Do I really want to lock down a tight end? I like Eric Ebron. I think his touchdown upside it's unbelievable. Had over 100 targets last year. I know some of you may be thinking, yes, Jack Doyle's coming back. Great. in this kind of a league, in a best ball, I'll draft them both. Fantastic. Because of how much Andrew Luck and the Colts offense loves to use the tight end position, why not? Why not lock down both of them? I mean, there's no way that Jack Doyle sitting all the way down here is going to be drafted anytime soon. So if I can lock down an Ebron and then pair it up with Jack Doyle, one of the two are going to produce on a weekly basis. So honestly, I don't think that is too far-fetched of an idea to kind of pair those two up. Let's see what else is available. I like Tyler Boyd a lot. I don't understand why would you draft Hunter Henry this early? I just don't understand the logic of that sometimes. Hunter Henry, man, I don't know. Jarvis Landry's great. Tyler Boyd's great. These guys, I don't know. I like Dante Pettis probably more than Christian Kirk. Will Fuller, Will Fuller is really like hey, if his knee is okay, if he's healthy, oh my God, he can have wide receiver 1 weeks. I think in the 13 games that he's played with Deshaun Watson when they were both healthy and active, he's scored 11 touchdowns. The guy's incredible with the combination there, especially when DeAndre Hopkins is on the other side of the field pulling so much attention. You get Kiki Cutie in the slot position. I mean, Will Fuller can contribute as long as he stays healthy. So there's an upside there in this kind of a draft. Let's see here. Lamar Miller. Let's look at the running back depth. I know I locked down 3 guys, but obviously I need another guy. Tariq Cohen wouldn't be bad, in all honesty. I think of the available guys left, he is really the only dependable one that can on a weekly basis kind of figure it out and contribute to your team. But I doubt he gets to me. There you go. There was no way that he was going to get back to me here. Miles Sanders, I'm pretty high on him as well. I'm going to go ahead and queue him up. I like Ronald Jones. These are 2 guys that are just sleepers without a doubt. Looking at what's available down here, there's nothing really. Justice Hill, guys. I'm telling you, I'm going to make a video on him. I'm telling you, just wait. Just wait on Justice Hill. These younger running backs, they're going to take over this league eventually, soon enough. Let's see here. Darius guys coming off the board. That's the question. Are the Washington Redskins going to cut Adrian Peterson? Maybe they signed him to a new contract and I'm completely oblivious to it. But, they've got a lot of running backs. Darius guys, AP, Chris Thompson, Bryce Love, that they just drafted out of Stanford, another good running back, but obviously he's dealing with injury. All right, where's this draft pick going? Watch it okay, that's actually not terrible for me. Looking at what's available, I don't really want a quarterback or anything of that sort. Look at the running backs really quickly. I think I can wait for these guys coming back on the turn. I kind of want to lock down another wide receiver. Specifically, I like Jarvis Landry at this spot. Undisclosed injury, it's not going to be a big deal. I think once they move him down to the slot position, because of Odell's presence outside, he just becomes more of a valuable asset. Jarvis Landry was in the top, I think he was the number 18th ranked wide receiver last season, and he had a terrible season. Compared to seasons prior, Jarvis Landry in Miami was a 70% catch rate kind of guy every single year, 100 plus targets, 1,000 receiving yards, 5 or 6 touchdowns, a handful was guaranteed. This past season only had a 57% catch rate. A lot of that had to do with the fact that he was being used a lot outside instead of the slot position, which he's most comfortable with. On top of that, he was getting double coverage because he was the number 1 wide receiver. And obviously Baker Mayfield, Tyrod Taylor, their accuracies are not the best, right? Baker Mayfield was pretty accurate, but again, you have rookie, flubs here and there. And then the way I see it, if Jarvis Landry gets a hand on the ball, he's going to catch the ball. So you just got to get it in his wingspan. He'll figure it out there. It's coming back really quickly. Let's see here. Look at the running back position. I kind of want Miles Sanders at this point. And then looking at the wide receivers, guys like Curtis Samuel, Mecole Hardman, Valdez Scantling, Deshaun Jackson. These are pretty good picks in this kind of a setting. Christian Kirk, I don't know. I'd probably rather have Larry Fitzgerald over a Christian Kirk, to be honest, or an Andy Isabella. I know he can potentially have a good week. Can we hurry up? Okay, yeah, great. Do I want an Andrew Luck? Not really. I'm not too excited on that kind of a pick right now. I know he's potentially could be the number one quarterback in this format. But to be honest, look at this. Nobody's drafted quarterback. There's so many available, so they're not going away anytime soon. What was I thinking about doing? Yeah, I thought about doing this, so I did it. Miles Sanders, I'll take it. I think looking at the backfield of the Philadelphia Eagles right now, they're going to be a lot of guys getting cut this offseason. I mean, looking at what they have Josh Adams, they have Corey Clement, they have Wendell Smallwood, they have Jordan Howard, and they have Miles Sanders. Now, for those of you who don't know who Miles Sanders is, he was the backup to Saquon Barkley in 2017. Pretty much couldn't get any reps here and there because of the fact that Saquon Barkley was destroying in Penn State. And the fact of the matter was that, Barkley was, just dominating. You couldn't really give the ball to anybody else. This past season in 2018, absolutely had a breakout season. Kind of, when you watch him, he kind of looks like Saquon Barkley. You kind of can tell, oh my God, he's picked up a couple of things here and there. And I think without a doubt, within this season, he's going to win the starting job. Jordan Howard he was a product of the system last year in Chicago. He was quite the mess. Had 250 touches, and what was he able to do? Not much. To be honest, he was given a lot of opportunity, a lot of goal line work that made him relevant, and I think I have a lot of confidence in a guy like Miles Sanders. I don't really have to rely upon him too much here, but I think eventually he'll be able to take over that spot. Eric Ebron gone, not a big deal, honestly. Looking at what's available at tight end position, I'm one of those people that I'm okay with sitting down with a quote-unquote bad tight end because, to be honest, if I can just grab two guys and they somehow on a weekly basis, one has 6, the other one has 7, okay, great, I'll take 7 points a week. Like that's literally what's going on. Wow, Kareem Hunt in the 7th round. Ooh, unless that's your handcuff, man, it's a little much. It's a little much. Way too early. I think these guys are just drafting off the ADP of them right now. I don't think that's a pretty good spot. Looking at the tight ends though specifically, there's guys like Jordan Howard, Greg Olsen, Noah Fant. Oh man, Noah Fant. I'm ready for it. Watch them line him up on the slot position and just he's gonna take over. Austin Hooper. Man, there's so many silent but deadly tight ends. Trey Burton, right? Top 10 tight end last year, gets no respect this year. That's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, hey, he could probably do it again. There's a good likelihood that he could do it again. And in this kind of a format, would not hurt to get him on roster. Why is Kyler Murray so overvalued right now? No one can honestly tell me that Kyler Murray is going to put up more points than these 4. Winston, Breeze, Wilson, and Wentz. Like, okay, there's too many W's there. But still, there's no way. LaShawn McCoy, I don't even know. That's a waste of a pick if you ask me. I don't think LaShawn McCoy is going to do anything. You have Frank Gore in that offense. You have TJ Yeldon in that offense. They just drafted, let me go find that guy's name. I don't want to say a name and an age. Everybody's roasting me in the chat. It starts with an S if I'm not mistaken. Where are you at, my dude? All right, Singletary. Yeah, Devin Singletary. Okay, my pick is almost up. Let's see here. Looking at what's available at the wide receiver position, Curtis Samuel still sitting there, not bad. Sterling Shepard, honestly, not a bad selection here. I don't think Eli Manning's the worst quarterback. He can at least complete some passes. And Sterling Shepard could be a wide receiver too with some upside here. So that's not a bad selection. Curtis Samuel probably has more of a potential to have a wide receiver 1 week. But honestly, Sterling Shepard, I'm not too low on him, even though he's connected to the Eli Manning train, which is a mess. Cortland Sutton, I mean, it really is, you have to depend on lesser quarterbacks. That's really what it is. You have guys like, there goes Sterling Shepard. So my decision is made easier. But like at this position, right, do I want to trust in Flacco? Do I want to trust in Murray? Do I want to trust that he will eventually see some time in this lineup if Tyreek Hill doesn't, see a suspension? To be honest, let me look at the tight ends really quickly. Vance McDonald. Yeah, I think I can wait on a Vance McDonald. I'm taking Cortland Sutton. As much as I like Curtis Samuel, I don't know what it is. I think looking at the offense of the Panthers as of right now, I don't see Curtis Samuel as like the number 2 receive. Not even he's the number 4 receiving option of the team. Right? Let me explain this. Christian McCaffrey's number 1. DJ Moore's number 2 clearly. Number 3 is probably going to be whoever the tight end is, whether that's Greg Olsen or Greg Olsen's replacement, which is Ian Thomas. Curtis Samuel kind of ends up being the 4th guy, the 4th option receiving wise, or perhaps maybe I think it's Jarius Wright that's also in that offense. There's a bunch of guys, and whether or not Curtis Samuel ends up catching some balls here and there, obviously he's had some explosive weeks, whether that's out of the backfield or through the air. But as of right now, looking at a guy like Courtland Sutton, big playability, a guy that's going to go up one-on-one and have a lot of contested passes come his way. So I think with his size, strength, I think he's going to be able to figure it out in this offense. I don't know. Only time will tell. That's literally what the thing is, though. I've always thought about, like, when we do these mock drafts, sure, it could look fantastic right now. It could look terrible right now. It does not matter until the 2019 season is over. Like, that is a plain fact. Sure, you could have done things to ensure a better lineup or at least ensure more safety within your lineup. But as of right now, there's nothing to tell. Okay, wow, that went really damn fast. Let me look at the running backs available. I like Jerick McKinnon, or actually I probably do like Ito Smith a little bit more. Looking at the quarterback position, I'm willing to wait. So that's what we're going to do. Looking at the tight end position, David Njoku, let's go ahead and probably take Njoku in this spot. Do I really? No, I don't really want to waste on a tight end. Give me Valdez-Scantling. In case this guy ends up being the number 2 wide receiver of the damn Packers, let me just go ahead and lock him down really quickly. All right, now that I've kind of hard tunneled on 2 positions, I got to have to address these other spots here. Now, with that being said, probably going to end up, I don't pick for a while, I don't think, right? Yeah, I don't pick for a while. So I'll probably end up with the bottom of the pick of the litter. But let's be honest, I'm going to be totally real with you guys. If I can end up with guys like Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson, and I don't know, give or take Mark Andrews at tight end, either way, 2 of those 3 guys, I'm perfectly happy. In this kind of a format, I'm perfectly happy. Because I think personally, a lot of young talent there. They're going to be used within their respective offenses. And as long as I don't have to choose which one starts on a weekly basis, so I don't have to, play myself out of a week, eventually one of them is going to figure it out. All right, let's see. Quarterbacks are moving off the board. No big deal there. To be honest, looking at what's available, Russell Wilson's still on the board. Jameis Winston's still there. Guys like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, I mean, I've said this before in my quarterback ranking video. I know I've said it a lot. But Dak Prescott, in his 3 seasons in the NFL, has always been a top 12 quarterback in fantasy in 4-point per passing touchdown leagues. He has always been a QB1, always. Why? I have no effing clue. The guy he's figured it out. The ability to run the ball, 300-plus rushing yards. He's had 6 rushing touchdowns every single season. On top of that, he's now regained a wide receiver 1 in Amari Cooper, who had some pretty productive games last season. He gets back Jason Witten. That could figure some stuff out in the red zone for their offense. To be honest, kind of a good second QB. If I can go ahead and lock him up with the guy to be honest, I think I like Russell Wilson. For sure. Last season, 13 out of the 16 games, he had 2+ touchdowns scored. So that's pretty consistent. Obviously, he's a guy like Phillip Rivers. There are guys that are not going to throw for 3+ touchdowns, but they're going to get you consistent production. And then Russell Wilson can figure out some other stats with his legs. Okay, I got to crack my neck. Where am I picking? All right, I'm pretty soon coming off this board. Tight ends have disappeared. Fantastic. That happens. Russell Wilson has disappeared. I could probably end up with a pretty good trio of quarterbacks here with I'm going to wait too. Like a Dak, Wentz, and Rivers kind of, I really could wait. Okay, let me see. Because honestly, running backs kind of make a difference. And I think of the available ones, who's going to have pretty impactful weeks? I think Austin Eckler, yeah, there he goes. Austin Eckler for sure was the top of the list there. Dion Lewis can potentially have some pretty good weeks here and there. I know a lot of people are anticipating that Derrick Henry's going to just completely have full reign of the backfield like he did in the last 5 or 6 weeks of the regular season last year, but I don't really buy it. I'm not really too much of a Derrick Henry truther. Actually, I do tell the truth about Derrick Henry, and the fact of the matter is his stats are absolutely inflated, and they're just not going to be able to consistently produce on a weekly basis next season, or this coming season. So I'm not really, I'm not too high on that. Tight ends available. I'll probably I'll figure it out. I have no problem. To be honest, I need a quarterback though. So let's go ahead and figure that out right now. Of the available, Drew Brees does not hurt, but you know what it is? Drew Brees not seeing as many passing attempts per season as he usually does. On top of it, a lot of his goal line work is going to Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara just destroyed in the red zone last season. I think he had about 14 touchdowns in the red zone, whether it was in the ground or through the air, so that's pretty ridiculous. All right, Drew Brees off the board. Looking at the available players, I'm looking for guys that can have major weeks, and I think of the available, I like Jared Goff probably. To be honest, Cam Newton, but I don't know about his shoulder. That's my only concern here. So if I lock down a guy like Goff and then follow it with that's fine. Yeah, I can live with that. I'm going to lock down a guy like Goff, and then I'll probably follow it up with either, for sure, Prescott, and then eventually a guy like Kirk Cousins, hopefully, later on in this draft. But either way, I don't know, man. Let's see here. What is coming off the board? A bunch of, Mecole Hardman is still on the board. That's interesting. What else is on this board that looks like some enticing plays here? Robert Foster had a pretty good back end of last season. Josh Gordon still sits here, could have a lot of value next season. Man, Adam Humphries has just died in fantasy. I don't know what happened to Adam Humphries. I don't know why. Obviously, he's going to the Tennessee Titans. There's a lot of wide receivers there, right? You have Corey Davis, you have A.J. Brown, you have Delaney Walker, you have Dion Lewis. And then, Adam Humphries just loses all value. I mean, you never know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. But looking at what's available here at the wide receiver position, Paris Campbell looks like a pretty decent pick, but not right now. I kind of want to lock down a tight end here. Damn it, dude. I really wanted a Rudolph kind of guy. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Okay, to be honest, looking at quarterbacks, I'm going to do it. So let's lock down my Prescott. Alrighty. Now, after we've locked down Mr. Prescott here, Andrew's going to go ahead and start to look towards the tight end. Dion Lewis still on the board. Pretty good production if he scores a touchdown, he can, kind of slot it into my team. But Mark Andrews, I like. Where's Noah Fant? I like. And then probably Jordan Reed doesn't stay healthy. Is Vernon Davis still on the Washington Redskins? That's a question, because if he is, then there could be a little bit of a trickiness there. But Mark Andrews, Noah Fant, I'm pretty high on. Even though they're kind of sleepers at this moment in time, a lot of people aren't really paying much attention to them. I can live with it. Chances are that a guy like Dion Lewis will disappear. Oh, man, I got to take Justice Hill. Ito Smith, another great player. Another one of these handcuffs that has value. But the only issue is Ito Smith isn't really a PPR back. If he was a PPR back on top of being a handcuff, he would have immense value. But the fact of the matter is, probably Devontae Freeman is going to see a lot of that passing work, assuming he stays healthy. Now, if he doesn't, Ito Smith's going to be an RB2 next year, because there goes all of Devontae Freeman's fantasy stock and goes right to the bench. Somebody took Trubisky. That's interesting. Trubisky had one good game. He had a 6 passing touchdown game, and then he had a bunch of weeks in which he didn't score touchdowns or only had 1 passing touchdown. So that's a little questionable, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. Maybe my Dak Prescott pick was a little too much too. Maybe I should have went with like a Roethlisberger. To be honest, if it comes back and Roethlisberger's sitting there, I would not mind. But to be honest, maybe I've spent too much time on quarterbacks. to make a difference, especially in 4-point per passing touchdowns. There goes Roethlisberger, just like I thought. Right, that's how I schemed it to be. When do I pick? There's like 12 picks ahead of me. Okay, no big deal. It's more, 14. As long as I can get to one of these running backs and then lock it up with a tight end, to be honest, does not hurt too much. There's 18 rounds to this kind of a draft, so if I go 7-7, and then, I don't want one tight end, so maybe I'll go like 5, 6, 3, 2, something like that. I don't know. Seems like a decent plan. We'll see. But maybe if people didn't want to just leave it up to the timer running out and getting the best, I think they've just let it like sit on auto pick pretty much, which is fine. Maybe they'll just start. Okay, there goes my Mark Andrews. Ooh, here we go. The tight end run's coming, and Andrews sitting here waiting patiently for Noah Fant. What else is available? TJ Hawkinson, I'd be okay with. I think what they want to do with Hawkinson is pretty much make him Gronk. Matt Patricia's trying to rebuild the offense that kind of looks similarly to the New England Patriots, right? Because if you compare the two offenses, obviously Brady is far greater than Matthew Stafford at the moment. But, Matthew Stafford, he's still young. Regardless, their offensive lines are pretty much both good. Obviously, the Patriots, they've shuffled around, but they've consistently had some pretty good offensive lines. The backfields for both teams, both of them consist of 4 different running backs. The wide receivers, I'd probably lean towards the receiving core of the Lions this coming season. But to be honest, I think their offense is kind of looking similar. They've got Amendola on the roster for a reason. They've got some pretty big targets out there. Wow, the quarterback run came. They got some pretty big targets out there for Stafford. All they need is that tight end position, which Hawkinson can figure it out, I think, potentially this season. Worst case scenario, I'm telling you, I'm taking Jordan Reed and Greg Olsen, and I'm saying have a nice day, because really, I will take that. I will, without a doubt. All right, am I almost picking? Where are we at here? Yeah, we're almost here. All right, no big deal. Running backs, Deion Lewis still on the board? Yeah, I'll probably go with. Honestly, I'd probably take Justice Hill. So I'm going to take Deion Lewis off the board. I think I have too many consistent running backs at the moment. Maybe I look for a wide receiver here that has some upside potentially for one of the later rounds. I don't mind Emmanuel Sanders, especially coming off injury. A lot of people are going to pass up on him. There are other guys that really, like as I mentioned before, Albert Wilson or Antonio Callaway, Zay Jones, Robert Foster, that have a lot of potential to have big weeks, but as of right now, can't really pay attention to that. Alrighty, tight end position. Let's lock this down, shall we? Do I want a Jack Doyle? No. What I really want is Noah Fant as of right now, but I can probably wait on it. Looking at what's available, Hawkinson, Paris Campbell. All right, just give me the player I want. No, give me Noah Fant. I want the players that I want, especially this far in the draft. I'm willing to take the risk on the tight end position. I'm obviously going to lock him up with another decent tight end. Probably going to be, I don't know. These guys are very injury prone. The only one that hasn't seen a significant injury is Jimmy Graham. I think he broke his thumb last season near the end of the season, but that's really not significant at all. So that's not a big deal. Looking at the quarterbacks, it's all disappeared. But obviously that run came way before I could make a selection, so that's not a big deal. I'll probably take a guy like Dwayne Haskins and hope to Almighty that it'll figure itself out there. I think I might go for like a Matt LaCosse late. Speaking of Patriots tight ends, I don't think it'll be actually a big problem there to go for a guy like, because the tight end position at this point, what I've already schemed up, looks like a mess. But I'm willing to do that. I don't know, man. I'm not too high on tight ends. I understand having a top tight end makes a big deal, but I don't know. I don't really feel like overdrafting players in which I can find better value elsewhere. Let's see here. What just came off the board? Traquan, okay, no big deal. All right, looking at what's available to me, looking at the quarterback position, I'm not going to go and reach here for anything that's sitting there. Justice Hill could probably wait a little bit of time. Yeah, we're not drafting Doyle. So what we're going to do, we're going to take Justice Hill here. This will be my last running back for this season, or for at least for this roster. Just lock down a guy that I think in the Ravens offense, right? We know the Baltimore Ravens are without a doubt one of the better rushing teams. They run the ball just about more than anybody. They were in the top 5 of all rushing stats, whether there was attempts, rushing yards, and touchdowns. So there in itself, they're a rushing team. Now, obviously, that has a lot to do with the fact that Lamar Jackson's running the ball here and there, but that only helps the running backs when that defensive end has to stay honest and can't just completely run down the line of scrimmage and make a tackle. He's got to have to worry and wait for that option. It kind of opens up some lanes there for the running back. So the thing about Justice Hill, out of Oklahoma, 1,000-yard seasons on the ground the last 3 seasons. I think he played with Chris Carson. He actually played more than Chris Carson a couple years back. Had more stats than him. I know Chris Carson's dealt with injuries even in college. So, but even then, Justice Hill, he's a capable guy. I know he's a smaller stature. He'll probably be used in the passing game on top of probably seeing some more touches here and there. I know they have Gus Edwards. I know they have Kenneth Dixon. I'm not worried. There's a reason why they went and they drafted him and they brought in a guy like Mark Ingram, because they kind of want to shift the backfield going into a specific direction. Looking at the available running backs, I'm not interested. So that can be turned off for the future. Wide receivers. Dante Moncrief could be the number 2 wide receiver there. I have no clue. Only time will tell. Whether that ends up being James Washington like they drafted him to be, or it ends up being like a potentially Vance McDonald figures it out, has a 1,000-yard season. I don't know. But obviously someone's going to figure it out there. I honestly probably would rather have Dante Moncrief than Emmanuel Sanders. Coming off the Achilles injury, he's over 30. It kind of hurts. But as of right now, I probably want to lock down a third quarterback. What are the quarterbacks looking like? Andy Dalton, Dwayne Haskins, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm sure if Ryan Fitzpatrick, if he's a starter week 1, can show up and have a pretty good week and win you a fantasy week, and then he's done. He's gone. After week 3, he'll have a one. Actually, you know what? The Dolphins play the Ravens in week 1, so there's no. Actually, that's the thing. Every time we count out Ryan Fitzpatrick, he somehow manages to figure it out. So there's always a chance that in week 1 against the Ravens, somehow the Miami Dolphins win that game. There is always a possibility. It exists as long as you have Mr. Ryan Fitzmagic, but I don't know. Andy Dalton, I'm pretty high on him, so that's actually not a bad pick, to be honest. Tight ends are kind of still sitting here, which are not bad. I really do not mind a guy like Jordan Reed or Greg Olsen, Jack Doyle. Jack Doyle, honestly, sees more field time than Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron will probably be used more in the wide receiver formations rather than in blocking formations, because they do prefer Doyle in that. According to what the snap counts were last season, when it comes to both of them healthy on the field. I guess we'll just have to wait. Let's see what ends up happening here. We're only in the 14th round, so we've got a couple picks ahead of us now. Jack Doyle gone, no big deal. I'd like to see Moncrief on my team. It's probably one of my last receivers. So if that'll happen, that'd be great. If not, I'm going tight end. All right, so I'll go ahead and take Mr. Yeah, let's do it. I'm not even gonna just worry about it. I think if he can figure it out, ends up being the wide receiver too, then I just lock down a pretty good player here. I'm going to check my text while we're sitting here. Okay, no big deal. Okay, looking at what else is available on the screen, I don't mind Andy Dalton. And I do not mind... Okay, there goes the tight end run. I do not mind a guy like Matt LaCosse. Potentially this season. I know Ben Watson's out for the first 4 games, and as soon as LaCosse figures it out for the New England Patriots, locks down that position. Watch Gronk. Where's Gronk? Watch Gronk come out of retirement just to screw me over. Will Disley, not a bad pick himself. Irv Smith out of Alabama was drafted this offseason. Why is this so behind? Oh, it is my pick. Okay, great. To be honest, looking at what's available, I want to probably lock down that quarterback like I was mentioning. So let's do that. Let's take my third quarterback, lock down Andy Dalton here. You know, to be honest, the quarterbacks that I have comparatively to what I could have had, I'm not opposed to it. There's obviously some conceptions behind the idea of having a Dalton and Dak Prescott and Jared Goff, but to be honest, I'm not against it. Again, these are just best ball, so one of the three is going to pop off on a weekly basis. So not a big deal. Looking at what's available, do I need another wide receiver? Where's my breakdown here? 3, 5, 6, 1. And we are going into the 15th round here. To be honest, do I want another wide receiver? How do I even... Let me look at my team really quickly. Goff, Elliott, Damian Williams, Golladay, Kupp, Landry. We have Fant, and then we have Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, Sutton, Scantling. Okay, I don't need any more wide receivers. I think I'm set on that. So I need to just lock down tight ends. I don't mind going for an Eifert, to be honest. I do not mind that. So if I just spend the next 2 picks and then probably lock down a deep wide receiver, maybe like a Jake Kumaro or Albert Wilson or Robert Foster if he's still there, I don't mind. So let's see what happens. Because if I can go 6, 6, that'd be 12, 7. Now, do I only have 1 pick left? How many rounds is this thing? I gotta let's see here. Oh my God, how many clicks do I gotta do? Yeah, how many rounds? 18, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Could I not hold this? Wow. I gotta spam click this thing. Oh my goodness. Oh, Josh Gordon, interesting. Interesting pick, huh? Albert Wilson, yep, like I mentioned. These are guys that, hey, could have some value. John Browns of the world can have some value. What are the other wide receivers that are still kind of sitting here? Yeah, Robert Foster's being brutally undervalued. But they think that John Brown's going to go in and kind of take his job. Jake Kumaro, not bad. I think Nelson Aguilar's he's had some pretty good seasons with the Eagles, yet people are just writing him off. Demaryius Thomas, if he's not too old, can figure it out maybe. Anyway, let's go and scroll up here. There goes Eifert. There goes all the players that I've wanted. Perhaps I've waited too long, but I'm willing to, I'm going to live and die by that, to be honest. Live and die by the blade, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's see here. Is there any decent running backs? Duke Johnson could be good, but I don't even know if he'll end up playing in Cleveland this season. The amount of complaints I've heard as of late. Coming out of that team, at least out of the backfield. All right, what am I picking? Soon? All right, great. Because I'm getting it. I'm growing very impatient. If you've somehow managed to last this long throughout the video, I want to thank you personally. Because to be honest, it's your kind of viewership. The fact that you go ahead and stay and watch the entire video, it's your kind of viewership that really is the backbone of this channel. I'm not even kidding. For those of you who are still here, much appreciated. I know this is kind of boring, to be honest, because I'm sitting here and I kind of wanted a fast forward time. If you've seen that movie Click, I pretty much wanted to do that every time until it was my pick. Click and pick. Hello. And then let's see here. Hurry up, dude. Was someone drafted Ian Thomas? That's interesting. All right, here we go. Hurry up and make the pick so I can go ahead and jack someone out of this lineup here. Great. Clement, really? Corey Clement? Interesting. Considering I probably just let me just take Robert Foster here. Let's see. Marquise Goodwin. Yeah, good work for Mr. Jimmy Garoppolo there. Of the available, I'm legit going Matt LaCosse, and then I'm going to follow it up with another. I don't want any of these tight ends. There's no way I'm sitting with a Witten. There's no way. The guy's too old, man. He sat on doing ESPN for an entire season. There's no way I should have him on roster. I'd rather have a guy like, what's it called? Oh, it is my pick. Beautiful. Looking at what's available, I'm taking Matt LaCosse. It's not even close. Thank you very much. Give me that New England tight end that everyone's going to be sleeping on, and somehow we'll have some fantastic weeks. Running backs, Chase Edmonds. That's not a bad handcuff, just in case David Johnson wants to have a breakdown of his body. That's honestly not a bad pick. It's kind of a deep one, and it's kind of like a you're hoping for injury, but to be honest, it's not really a hoping for injury. It's more of a, if it ends up coming back to me, I don't mind taking it for just in case. Because if that happens, then I can potentially, well, I mean, the amount of running backs I have already kind of looks good, but I could potentially just win the league if we have another Chase Edmonds having some monster weeks here and there. Let's go. Hurry up. Let's see here. What did Chase Edmonds do anyway last season? Yeah, nothing. Of course not. Because how are you supposed to do anything within an offense that already has an RB1 that's touching every single rushing attempt or passing target? Let's see here. Armstead, Randall Cobb, Brown. Okay. Am I literally in the last rotation here? Yeah, okay. Well, anyway. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm not ending this video yet, but I just want to go ahead and thank you again for watching this video and seeing how this ended up. But goodness gracious, I will have timestamps below because this is unbelievable how long this takes. I think I've been drafting for like 40 minutes or something. It's pretty ridiculous to say the least. Mo Alley Cox. Oh, my God. These people are hilarious. Yeah, you don't never know. He could have a big week. It's always possible. My tight end positions, it's a sketch show, but hey, you know what? I think it's funny. I don't mind the comedic factor of my tight end position because I think everything else on my team looks pretty good. A lot of it has to do with the depth of the wide receiver position stepping up. Cortland Sutton, Valdez-Scantling, and Dante Moncrief. If they can figure it out, goodness, I can have a pretty good season here. There's no way Chase Edmonds comes back to me. Whoever the damn David Johnson owner should have already had him on roster. I don't understand why he doesn't. But okay. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Let's see. What else is going on? Jay Kumaro. Yep, that's another one of these late sleeper picks. I love how J.J. is. I mean, I don't love it, but I just don't understand how J.J. is not on a roster. I don't understand what he did wrong. He tore his ACL, sure, but it doesn't mean that he's a bad running back all of a sudden. He's had some pretty good games here and there throughout a season, or throughout his years. I know in Philadelphia last season, prior to his injury, he was a pretty good running back. He was finding the end zone within that offense, and he was decent. In Miami, again, another pretty decent running back. Had some pretty ridiculous weeks. I think he had back-to-back 200 rushing yards weeks. Not bad there, but again, you never know. Alfred Blue in Jacksonville could be the receiving back of that team, could have value, but to be honest, I don't really trust a guy like Alfred Blue within that offense. Where are we at? We almost have my pick. That sounds great because I do not mind Chase Edmonds, so I can ride off into the sunset here. Okay, come on. Everyone's on auto pick it right now. Like, are we kidding me? Oh my! I'm sitting here just waiting. I'm letting the time pass. Past time. Hello. There goes Chase Edmonds. Beautiful. Now Andrew's got to figure out where he wants to spend his last pick. DeMarcus Robinson. If he scores a touchdown on a big play, sure. You know what? I like these. I like some of these wide receivers to have. Okay, you know what? Let me look at the tight end position really quickly before I just completely leave it as such. I'm not drafting Gronk. I don't think he's coming back. I think if he was to come back, that'd be a mistake for himself. He'd end up just getting hurt or doing something stupid like that. Jonnu Smith could figure it out, but that's another one of these deep cuts. All right. Looking at what's available, Marquise Lee could figure it out, but I don't really want one of those. No, I'm not wasting a pick there. Andrew's going to go ahead and take a tight end, but maybe Jason Witten. the old man, Jason Witten, overall, or Gerald. Yeah, but they don't really use the tight ends as a receiving option often. All right, forget it. Andrew's going to do it. Andrew's drafting Jason Witten. All right, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for watching. That was our last pick. Let's look at our lineup, what we've constructed somehow here. After a very long and exhausting draft, to be honest, Jared Goff, Elliott, and Williams as the 2 backs, and then followed up by an Aaron Jones, which is our first 3 picks, to be honest. Golladay, Kupp, and Landry. And then the depth just begins to stack as our tight end position begins to get weaker and weaker, with Miles Sanders, Cortland Sutton, Scantling, Dak Prescott, Justice Hill, Dante Moncrief. Okay. To be honest, not terrible, not the best, but, it is what it is. And to be honest, I don't hate it. I think it could have been better, but I'm really relying on these 3 running backs to carry my team. And then these plethora of wide receivers that I've collected to kind of figure it out on a weekly basis. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching, and until next time, see you.